for president, Dean Phillips, exploded on mainstream journalists while in New Hampshire this week, saying Donald Trump is the only politician listening to Americans right now.
I've said this 18,000 times. I'm only doing this to defeat Donald Trump. Nobody seems to want to do that in the Democratic Party right now other than me, because Joe Biden can't, is my proposition, because the data says he can't. No one in the country right now cares. In fact, most of the people in the country are going to the Trump rally right now because he's listening to them. No one's asking about this stuff. I'm just frustrated. I hope you understand why I'm getting tired of it. You're doing your jobs, but you're not asking the questions that Americans give a shit about.
We offer tuition-free college and tech school, Medicare for all, subsidized child care, tuition-free college, and a guaranteed living wage, a guaranteed sick pay. We're going to turn a war economy into a peace economy. We're going to turn the scourge of addiction into the gift of recovery. And we're going to turn a dirty economy into a clean economy. There has been a 50-year war on the middle class and the poor in the United States. I'm Marianne Williamson. We're going to end that war. I'm going to make sure of it.
So much work we have to do. We have to protect Social Security for those who are retired and have earned it. Not just protect it, but enhance it. So that's what America's all about. But are we going to be able to achieve any of these things with the dysfunction and, frankly, the current candidates at the top of the tickets? No. That's why I'm running for president. I know how to do this. I'm the second most bipartisan member of the entire U.S. Congress. I came from the business world, where you could never succeed by demeaning, endangering half of your customers. You actually do the opposite. You invite people, you listen to them, you learn them, you welcome them. That's what I'm going to do as president.
Now, that might be some of the first and only coverage you've seen of the Democratic primary candidates that are on the ballot in New Hampshire, because the Democratic Party and their media apparatus has been insisting that there's nothing to see here. There will be no primary. This is not the primary you were looking for.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible, especially given all the discernible, measurable frustration with Joe Biden in his own among his own voters. At the top, that doesn't exist. They said, well, he's entitled to it. He is an incumbent president. Of course, he's going to run for re-election. It should be his. Okay, let him fight for it and triumph easily. If there's no real dissent, then he can win. He'll have an easier time of it in theory, on paper, if their argument's correct, than he even did last time around when he won the nomination. But they don't even want to have that test. There's no reason for it. There's no reason to think it would make him a weaker or less effective candidate to get a little bit of practice going up against in a debate and in an actual measured election, going up against the people who oppose him. One from the left and one from to a more centrist place, maybe you could argue, than him, and see how that shakes out. I think it would be a very healthy exercise to sharpen him a little bit. He's trying to run the same campaign he did in the midst of COVID, where he could just hide in the basement, and that worked because everyone was so scared and frustrated about the state of the world and a little fed up with Trump at the time. People seem less fed up with him now, what they're fed up with is Joe Biden.
And you're hearing even Dean Phillips express frustration. He was responding to reporters asking him what he thought were silly, goofy questions. And that's what provoked the blow-up, saying, hey, the only person who seems to be taking voters seriously, taking the idea that voters are demanding something of their politician seriously, is in the next 10 over with Donald Trump. And I do think he's putting his finger on something there, which is that, hearing Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson just give those final pitches was a reminder to me that, oh gosh, I guess the Democratic Party does stand for a couple of things, but we haven't heard anything about those issues, whether it's kitchen table issues, whether it's protecting Social Security, which is a bipartisan issue at this point. All of these things down the line, we're getting no airing out of those priorities because there is no Democratic primary, and certainly those are not issues that are being discussed among Republicans. So Republicans are getting a free pass right now with this presumption that they must be with the people, with the majorities of Americans on some of these issues that they absolutely are not populist about, because Democrats have no venue, no opportunity, no platform to really say this is what we're getting out of our party. And that's the kind of information that comes out when you have a primary contest. And that's what Joe Biden is denying the public and, frankly, denying the Democratic Party by refusing to participate.
And everyone's letting him get away with that at the top. His people, think of Simone Sanders on MSNBC, all of the rest saying there will be no primary, definitively, endorsing this behavior. At the same time, they're saying that democracy itself is at stake. Trump represents the apotheosis of, did I use that word correctly? Apotheosis of democracy. Apotheosis, thank you. And that they can't, you can't, like, we won't have a country anymore unless he's defeated. And you can point to, non-democratic things he's doing as well. I wish he had participated in the debates. He said, I'm not going to participate in the debates. I absolutely refuse to. I think that would have been great.
New Hampshire of their first in the nation primary spot, which I think it's all silly. We should all have one voting day and get rid of all of this nonsense to begin with. Sorry, Biden did.
Right. Trump did that.
Sorry, but that's the point I'm trying to make, that Biden really just doesn't have any credibility when it comes to undemocratic maneuvers to try to ensure his place at the top of the Democratic Party ticket. I'm sorry, and New Hampshire voters, I know that they're not representative of all the voters in the country.
Well, they're more representative than Iowa voters.
Sure. But to do that in particular to them when they are this more kind of live for your die-ish kind of a state, more independent
My
sort
people
of
are
state.
overrepresented in New Hampshire.
Right. I mean, it just really is a thumb in the eye of the public there. And I wonder if it will hurt him in the longer term. You heard, I thought it was so interesting to me to see that clip from MSNBC where you hear the pundit saying, they're trying to lower expectations because there could be a very bad outcome for Biden in this state. Now, he doesn't have to lose for it to look bad and to create a media cycle where suddenly everyone's forced to pay attention to Marianne Williamson and Dean Phillips. And this is not a state that has exactly thrown its arms around Biden in the past. In 2020, I will remind everyone every day until the day I die that Joe Biden came in 5th place in the Democratic primary.
Yeah.